Yes, so the next thing is role of interspecific and intergenic hybridization. So this is a thing, and intergenic hybridization. So these are the types of hybridization. And next, role of genetic engineering and biotechnology in crop improvement. So how that is helping in crop improvement is what that we will study here. And next, this is a common term that we can see in the science and tech too, genetically modified crop plants. And in news also we can see what are the new genetically modified crop plants and what are the drawbacks, what are the advantages that we get is what we study in the plant breeding. And next thing that that is there here is seed technology, seed technology. So we use the technology for this seed. Let us see seed production. So why it's not about the seeds that are edible to eat. So we are not talking about the eat. Of course, this is also a part, but the seeds are required for crop production. So what the first thing that farmers do is after tillage operations on the field, they will buy the seeds. Based on the seeds quality, the crop yield will decide. So by choosing, but the time of choosing these seeds only, it is important to choose the right seeds. And how this seeds production takes place, even it is a responsibility of the government to provide the proper seeds to the farmers. So there were lot many technological things or breeding operations that private and public enterprises operates here to provide a proper seeds to the farmers. So seed production, how will that seed production? There were specially grown these seed plants or seed crops which are specially for this seeds providing only, not for the edible part. I mean, not for this marketing these seeds for eating. There were some kind of crop which are specially grown for this seed production only. And what are the processing technologies that they use to provide a proper seeds for these crops? And seed certification is what we see. How will the seeds certification takes place? Like we have different types of seeds. Like if we see, there was separate tags for that: blue tag or yellow tag, white tag for that, foundation seeds, certified seeds. So there were certain kind of seeds were there, and they were grown in different and different fields and in different parameters. So we'll be seeing that how the seeds and different types of seeds are there and how they have been certified by the government so that we can use the seeds, particular seeds for our crops. And seed testing and storage. Storage operations are also very important because during the storage we face a lot of issues. And next, DNA fingerprinting and seed registration is what we study here, and role of public private sectors in seed production and marketing. So how this government and private sectors and what is their role in production as well as marketing to the public. And we see in news, a common news nowadays or previously, that farmers usually get a low percentage of yield out of the seeds that they buy from a particular company, or we can see such kind of things in the newspapers or news channels, most common. And intellectual property rights, World Trade Organization issues and its impact on agriculture is also what we study. So all these things especially deals with the seed technology only. So the next subject here is plant physiology, and the most important subject in the whole paper too, because we expect a lot of questions from this plant physiology. There's 1 year, almost like 5+ questions have been asked from this physiology itself. A lot of major marks around. Uh, it's not, I'm not particular, but it's around 70+ marks have been asked from this physiology only, out of the 250 marks. So it is very important, and we can expect a lot of questions from this physiology too. And it is also a bit difficult to understand. So the first thing here is principles of physiology with reference to plant nutrition. What is meant by physiology first? It's same like the anatomy of human. So we as a human, let us take the examples of this human. So we have different functions that takes place in our body, like reproductive system and digestion system, urinary system, and this respiration system. Every organ is doing their functions to make us live. So in the same way, plant do also have this physiology conditions, a lot of actions that takes place in the plant so that this plant can grow well from root. So the water absorption is one function. Same like we do have different functions in our body. Water function, how the nutrients are taken from the soil, what is the role of this root system, and what is the role of this leaf from sunlight. We already know the common thing called photosynthesis, where the plant can prepare its own food, taking this sunlight and making some kind of operations in itself, like the photosynthesis process, CAM cycle, C3 cycle, C4 cycle. And by doing all these things, it respire. That means it is releasing the oxygen just by taking the carbon dioxide inside, which is vice versa to this human. And by taking the nutrients from this soil, how will that make the plants grow, like leaves or fruits or flowers? So this is what the physiology mean. So here what we study here is plant nutrition first. How the roots uptake the nutrients, how will that transform the available nutrients in this soil, and how will that transform into the plants. And next, absorption. How will that absorb, and what are the nutrients available in that soil, and what nutrients the plant takes, and how will that absorb. There is a system called xylem and phloem. So through that system, it will be uptaking the nutrients. And translocation and metabolism of nutrients. How that is the translocation means, every part, like leaves need certain kind of nutrients, stem needs certain kind of nutrients. How will that translocate it at the exact locations is what we can study here. And next, soil, water, plant relationship. Until now, we studied related to food, the nutrients, how it will take. This will deal about the water. So whatever the nutrients that flows through water only. So it can uptake the nutrients with the help of water itself. And it is also very important to maintain this turgidity only if it contains a proper water in it. So how the plant is taking the water is what we study. Same like the blood flows in our body, the water flows in the plants too. Next, plant pigments. Pigment is nothing but the colors. So there were different kind of pigments we can see in the plants also, like leaf color is different from branch color, roots color, flowers color is different, fruit color is different. These are the pigments. And enzymes. There were certain kind of theories that we need to study regarding the enzymes, how that is helping the plant grow. And the most important part, the photosynthesis, how the plant is preparing its own food, and its modern concepts, factors affecting the process, aerobic and anaerobic respiration, C4, C3, CAMPS mechanisms. So everything related to this food and respiration deals all these things. Next, carbohydrates, protein, fat metabolism in the plants. And growth and development, how the plant growth takes place and how it develops. Photoperiodism is one such kind of mechanism that plant use, and vernalization to grow. And plant growth substances, what are the substances that aid in plant growth and their role in crop production. And physiology of seed, so here we study what is the physiology, inside structure, how the plant grows, everything that we watch here. And germination, how the germination takes place in these seeds. And dormancy, what is stopping the seed to grow and how we can eradicate them, is what we study. And stress physiology, so drought, salt, water. Out of this, in the paper one, we can see the soil. If the soil is affected mostly with the salts, automatically that flows to the plant too, which will affect the plant growth. Salt accumulation, drought, if there is a drought condition, how this stress physiology takes place. So everything related to the plant growth and what are the functions happening in the plant is what we study in this plant physiology. And the next thing is horticulture. In paper one, there is this subject called agronomy, which completely discuss the cereals, pulses, and oil seeds type of crops. And there were other crops too, like fruit crops, vegetable crops, fruit crops, and crops, and medicinal medicinal crops, aromatic crops. There were different kind of crops that were there. Commercial crops like tea, coffee, rubber. So all these things we study under this horticulture. So this deals with major fruits. Plantation crops means nothing but tea, coffee, rubber, vegetables, spices like cardamom, and there were different types of spices will be there, right? So we all be studying that cloves, etc. And crops, which are having a high demand, like gladiolus, chrysanthemum, marigold. So we all be studying such kind of flower crops. And package practices of major horticultural crops. Same like we studied the climatic conditions, critical stages of irrigation, temperature, and which weather is suitable, how much temperature is required, and what are the seed varieties that we can follow, and what is the yield, what is the right time to harvest, and right time harvest indicators. Everything about the crop production of all these crops we study under this horticulture. And protected cultivation, high-tech horticulture. So nowadays, changing climatic conditions makes this technology adaptive. So we can see how this protected cultivation, nothing but the greenhouses, like glass houses, plastic sheath houses, which is regulating the temperature inside according to the climatic conditions. If any area which is not suitable to grow one particular crop, so they will make one artificial structure around that crop and regulate the inside things like humidity, temperature, so that the crop grows. Especially if we take areas like snow areas. So there is a less scope of growing the different crops there. But we can use this protected cultivation and high-tech horticulture to produce no matter how harsh the weather conditions there. And next, the post-harvest technology. After harvesting, these horticulture crops are having high deterioration rate. For example, let us take these fruits or vegetables or flowers. If we harvest these things within few days, around five more than 5 days or more than 3 days, let us assume. It's all different for different crops. This started deteriorating. I mean, they spoil. They easily spoil. So we can't buy everything immediately after harvesting, right? So this post-harvest technology is what this transform fruits into juices that we drink in the market, like we can see Mirinda and pulpy orange and appy fizz. All these things we can store for a long time. So they prepare this vegetables and flowers. So dry flowers, they make these dry flowers, and there were some type of things like canning that we can see, and we can see from the fruits we can prepare jams, jellies. So all these things will basically help us to store these types of items for a long time. So that is what this post harvest technology teaches us, and the value addition of this fruits and vegetables, whatever I discussed now. And landscaping and commercial floriculture. So every event that takes place, these flowers as a decoration is very common. So the demand of these flowers are very high. So we study these flowers in the horticulture part, like landscaping. Even if we go somewhere like parks or some important places, we can see the gardening there. So this landscaping is what that will teach us. And commercial floriculture, how we can cultivate different types of high demand flowers like marigold, gladiolus, chrysanthemum, etc. And medicinal and aromatic plants. There are some kind of medicinal plants will be there, like aloe vera. So aloe vera, we can bring out many products from this, like aloe vera gel, and we can prepare many medicines too. And if we take these aromatic plants, like there were different types of aromatic flowers will be there, and aromatic leaves will be there. Out of that, few perfumes and used in some other cosmetics is what commonly we can see. So that is the importance of this medicinal and aromatic plants. And role of fruits, vegetables in human nutrition. So we normally take these fruits and vegetables daily for a reason, to make our health good. So this is a part of human nutrition. So what is the role of this and how much content we should take is what we study here in the horticulture subject. And the next thing is pathology and entomology. So here are the two terms. Pathology, the study of diseases of plant, and entomology is the study of insects. So both these things hampers the plant growth, and which is a serious issue for all the farmers, and which will ultimately results in less yield out of this. How this diseases stops the plant to grow properly. For example, if we take any leafy vegetables, if some disease attack these leaves, we can't yield that leaves, we can't eat that leaves. Out of this, what happens? The farmer ultimately in loss, and the production is very less. And insects are the biggest enemies to the farmers, where insects eats all the plants, and it will affect the crop yield. So we should know diagnosis of pest, diseases of crop plants, and different we can say different diseases and different insects for different crops. Like if we take the rice, the common insects that we can see is plant hopper, brown plant hopper, stem borer. Or if we take some other crops like maize or vegetable crops or any other crops, so these insects, different insects are associated with different crops. In the same way, diseases too of vegetables, orchard, and orchard means nothing but the fruit crops, plantation crops, and their economic importance. This is what we study here. And classification of pest, disease, and how we can manage. So we are basically classifying both these things. Whether, for example, if we take these diseases, whether that is soil-borne disease or outside plant-borne disease, where it is affecting, whether the leaf or stem or something else, roots, even the pest. Even if we observe the insects are of different orders. Some are directly chewing things, and some have these mouth parts like sucking. So, which comes under different parts, different categories, and how we can manage them. For example, let us take if there is an insect which is a sucker, and there is this plant, and the nutrients travels, but what this uh, insect do, that will directly suck from the plant, automatically the yield will grow less. What if we provide some kind of fertilizer through irrigation? So along with this water, the fertilizers, sorry, the pesticides also travel. So automatically, if some kind of insect sucks through this, automatically it dies. So this kind of management is one such example. In the same way, we can manage many things from these pests and diseases. Next, integrated pest and disease management is what we can see. Integrated means approaching different practices like cultural practice, biological practice, chemical practice, and everything. And storage pest and their management. So after yield, we normally store the grains, and these storage pests are the biggest enemies at that moment. The common thing is rice weevil, rotundus. Rotundus, we can see that species, which is a common pest, storage pest in all the seeds. So, which they will eat and make the valueless to this type of seeds. So, we study about the different types of storage pests and how we can manage them. Biological control of pests and disease is what that we study. Epidemiology and forecasting of major crop pest and disease. This is also one such kind of approach. And plant quarantine measures. We all be knowing the term called quarantine, how we can avoid these types of diseases and pests just by making these plant quarantines, and what is the procedure. And next is pesticides. So to eradicate these pests and diseases, we normally use these pesticides. What are their formulations? What is the modes of action? Just like I explained you with one example. So what is the mode of action on that plant? Whether we spray or we send it inside or we spray outside is what the mode of action means, and how we can formulate, because we have to go through a particular measurements, otherwise that will affect the whole plant. And this is what we study in this pathology and entomology. And the last thing here is food technology. Here we have the scope of adding some current affairs, and this section is totally aligned with GS paper 2, like PDS system, paper 3 and paper 2. So the first thing is food production and consumption trends in India. So how the food production takes place, and what are the consumption trends, and what is the demand of particular crops, and what kind of yields that we are getting, and what kind of problems that we face providing that. Okay, is what we study here. And food security and growing population, vision 2020. So what is the security of this food? So whatever the stored food is sufficient for the growing population, and what are the new alterations that we can make to increase the food production, and reasons for gain surplus. So this is a common feature that through PDS system sometimes we hear there is no grain, there is no supply from the government. When this happens, when there is a grain surplus from the farmer side. So this is a common feature. And national and international food policies, that is there, we have to know. And production, procurement, distribution constraint is what the common issue that we see nowadays. Like the production, we have seen different issues to produce one crop. And what is the procurement, means the process of this marketing all, and what is the distribution constraint is what we study. Availability of food grains, per capita expenditure on food is what we study. Trends of poverty. So poverty is a common feature that we see. So out of this poverty, government is taking some initiation, and this public distribution system who are under the below poverty line. So through ration cards under a subsidized prices, and targeted public distribution system is what something more questions has been asked from this particular section nowadays, and policy implementation in context to globalization, and processing constraints is means nothing but the problems of this processing. Relation of food production to national dietary guidelines and food consumption patterns is what we need to study. And food based dietary approaches to eliminate hunger. Hunger is the biggest issue that we are facing. So how we can eliminate by these dietary approaches. And nutrient deficiency. Out of this nutrient deficiency, people face different kind of health issues nowadays. Like, we can normally see if we are lacking any such kind of nutrients in our body, we can see quassia diseases, and there were many such kind of diseases we can see, uh, like micronutrient deficiencies, like protein allergy, malnutrition, protein calorie malnutrition. Whatever the food that we take, it should have everything like micronutrients, proteins, uh, a proper carbohydrates and everything. What if something is improper? Automatically, what happens? We face some kind of issues with our body, like some function stops or something like that. Micronutrient deficiency and HRD in context of the work capacity of women, children. So particularly women. Nowadays, few schemes are providing a special food through Anganwadis to these children like eggs, and who are under the pregnancy. Pregnant women getting some kind of food like eggs from the government. So food grain productivity and food security is also a thing that we need to study. So all these things which we have discussed until now will cover in the paper too. And those, it's all depends on the person. Those the people who have this ability to learn and revise and keep the exact thing there in their mind, then it will be easier for them. And it is easy compared to other optional, as I told you earlier, because the answer is fixed with all these subjects, so we can prepare it well. So this is all about the paper 2, and at soon I'll produce some demo videos to you on few topics that is related to this agriculture, and I'll update each and everything related to this agriculture. And soon I will start the course for this, and it will help you a lot, because I'll teach you every concept clearly, and you can ask whatever the doubts you have and you can get clarified. I'll also provide you the PYQs on the yearly basis, and I'll also explain by taking each and every questions from previous papers, and I'll explain the structure, making the how we can make the structure of that question, and I'll teach you how we can make the notes along that will best align with the answer structure and everything. So if you have any concerns related to anything related to the course, related to the paper 1 and 2, or anything related to agriculture, you can directly ask me in the comment box, then I will reply you. Soon I'll give all the updates related to this agriculture optional course. Until then, we'll meet in the next video. Thank you so much.